We're going to continue on here in the media center with a driver who really needs very little introduction here in this area. Clint Bowyer, driver of the number 15 5-Hour Energy Toyota for Michael Waltrip Racing. And Clint, throwing out the first pitch at Kauffman Stadium, you showed some pretty good form. You painted the outside corner for a strike, and talk about that whole experience out of Kauffman Stadium.
You're going to call that the corner? I got the corner. There's no way. It was like 3 feet. They've narrowed the strike zone, not made it bigger. But, yeah, Christine and old Ned there put me together bad. I'm thinking go to the game, tailgate with friends in a parking lot, have a couple beers, take in a ball game like everybody else, and enjoy the night. No. Oh, no, I showed up and suited me up, and we went and had batting practice, went to the bullpen, and Guthrie threw some stuff at me. He threw a fastball by me and then a curveball. Man, I'm telling you, when you stand in front of that baseball, it gives you a whole new appreciation for a professional level of ball like that. Holy cow. I mean, here I am. My knees are already buckled, and I'm starting to get out of the way, and by the time it hits the dirt, it's like 12 feet away from you. So it wasn't even close. But great experience, fun to see the Royals. It's been a great ride here so far, and they ain't done yet.
Well, we're going to open the floor up now to questions. We're going to start over here with Tom. So if you have any questions for Clint, please raise your hand.
Hey, Clint, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. New rules package this year. You guys are going a lot faster in the middle of the corners. How is that for you as a driver, and you guys have any concerns about that?
Well, I mean, it's kind of exactly opposite of what all the drivers were asking for and hoping for, but there's constantly working to try to improve the package, that the race fan sees as a whole. It is a little bit disappointing because, in my opinion, you need more off-throttle time to create a racing environment on the racetrack. If you're wide open and you're not lifting, I don't know how you're going to get around that car in front of you when they're doing the same. That being said, you got to make the most out of tracks like this. You got to have fast equipment, a fast race car, and ultimately a lot of horsepower under the engine, or under the hood, sorry. That being said, it is what it is, and it's just like Jeff said earlier. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to win. You don't have to have the fastest car, but it certainly makes it a lot easier when you do have the fastest car when you're in an environment where the corner speeds are so high.
Go next to Kelly.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Clint, you've admitted that the mile-and-a-half program for Michael Waltrip Racing worries you. So now that we're here, what's the focus been for the organization? What are you guys trying to improve on? Do you know what you're fighting?
Well, I mean, anytime you're in any kind of competition, you're trying to better yourself until you're the best, and then you're still trying to better yourself. But we know we're behind, so this is definitely the area we've been working on. We've been working very hard in the wind tunnel and trying to find some aero advantages, some gains that we feel like we're behind on the aero side of it. And then the engine guys have been working hard on trying to make some gains under the hood as well, because we know we're behind there too. So those are the two big hitters on a fast mile-and-a-half racetrack like this, and when you're behind them, both of them, it makes it pretty hard. But they've made gains in both, and I'm looking forward to getting on the racetrack and hopefully reaping the benefits of their hard work.
Clint, Todd Palmer, Kansas City Star. I was wondering if you could tell me where you were and what your reaction was when you heard that this race was going to be the SpongeBob SquarePants 400.
Well, I wish I was with my 5-year-old nephew and he heard that it was going to be the SpongeBob SquarePants 400, but SpongeBob's a big deal. He's got his own race, man. Somebody told me it's been around since '99 or something, so Sponge is old too. Is that the trophy? Just going to hand you an old sponge and send you on your way? Go home and scrub up? I mean,
super absorbent.
Yeah. I mean, that's one way to save some money on a trophy. Just call it SpongeBob SquarePants, hand them a sponge and send them on their way. But, you're always looking for a younger demographic, and what a better way to attract that younger demographic. I mean, I can't imagine, any younger kid not wanting to come to the SpongeBob SquarePants, race. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of cars that have the SpongeBob and all the characters on their cars. So they've done a good job creating and building a good package for this race. I just tweeted, I woke up this morning, and you always feel better when you wake up in Kansas, but I was like, I've had a hell of a good time already, and we haven't even gotten in a car yet. We've been to a ball game. We've ate more barbecue than we should have. I went to Bass Pro Shops. I went to Legends last night and shopped. I mean, where else can you go to a racetrack and do all these things in a day's time during a little bit of a rain delay and some downtime and enjoy yourself, all in walking distance or so from here. So great racetrack, great facility, and it's always fun to come back here.
We'll go next to Chris and then over to Stan.
Chris Knight, CatchMans.com. Clint, David Reagan, teammate this weekend here at Michael Waltrip Racing. Have you had any chance to spend some time with him before you guys arrived at the track? And do you guys set the expectations bars moving forward?
We talked in driver intro. Driver intro is a big opportunity to catch up with your fellow drivers. So last week's driver intros, we talked a little bit, and obviously after this first practice, we'll be talking a lot more. It'd be interesting to see after he's been in the Gibbs cars, what's he feel in our cars, and maybe where we're better and where we're not as good. So that's a good right now when we know we've been behind and we're really working hard to try to better ourselves and figure this all out. It's a good asset to have, somebody that's been in pretty damn good equipment with kind of the same horsepower under the hood. So the feel is all going to be aero, it's going to be chassis and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to hearing his input after the first practice.
Go to Stan and then back to Lee.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Clint, how much? Well, let me reword that. How pressured are you internally to win at this racetrack? And how many of your family fans in this area are just pressuring you?
Oh, everybody. Everybody. I mean, but nobody puts any more pressure on yourself than you do. You know what I mean? It really comes from within, and if it doesn't, you're probably not going to be in your profession very long. But this track, it would mean a big deal, great deal to win this place. But right now, it's so funny as you go through your career in any sport. There's times where you know damn well that you're really close to wins, and there's other times when you couldn't be any farther away from that feeling. And certainly this year has tested a little bit of both of those. But I've watched these guys work so hard on this car and bring a new car with a lot of potential and a lot of momentum and hard work put into it. It's kind of a great deal of pride going into knowing that those guys worked that hard for me, for my home track, and ultimately this is our next swing at the bat. So I'm looking forward to going out there and seeing our hard work, hopefully put on display in a fast race car. But you always have that pressure, and obviously when you go home, it's even that much more because all your friends, they'll start calling about last Thursday. Are you ready to win, Kansas? So, we're going to be there Tuesday. Are you ready? So yeah, certainly it would be awesome to win here. Geez, we're going to need a hospital if we win here.
Up next, Lee, and then we'll go right next door to Jerry.
I'm just wondering what you're going to put in that IV. But anyway.
In the what?
The IV if you end up in the hospital. But
Life.
Eric Jones, young kid coming in fresh back when you were here. We really just didn't see kids that young getting opportunities. What is it about him that you think he'll survive in this game?
Well, I think just the same thing you saw in Kyle Larson and all these young kids. I mean, they've been racing since they were, little old enough to get in and hold the steering wheel up. They were racing, and not only racing, they were, racing at a touring level. There's a difference between just racing at home, that same track every week, finding a good setup, knowing every driver you're around. These kids are touring all across the country, some of them all around the world, racing in different formats, different competitors each and every week. Every time they're at the racetrack, they're driving against somebody new. So when you throw them to the wolves like they've been, like Eric Jones is getting this weekend, it's no big deal to them. It doesn't register. They're focused on the things they're supposed to be focused on, and that's so hard to understand. You know, I couldn't imagine with the little experience that I had when I first started on asphalt, just going straight to Cup. You know what I mean? Within a year or so's time. I mean, it's a great deal, a huge challenge to overcome, and that's the neat thing is they're right off the bat stepping in, working on the race car instead of freaking out that they're next to Jeff Gordon on the racetrack. You know what I mean? That would be easily understandable to do.
Clint, Jerry and then Nick.
Clint, Jerry Jordan, kicking the tires. You've expressed some mild displeasure over the radio about your car and handling.
You call that mild? I can't yell any louder, damn it. That's horrible.
I was trying to be nice. How comfortable are you in the conversations that you've had back at the shop and in moving forward that you guys are really on the right path turning things around?
Well, you know, looking back at the start of the year, that West Coast swing sucks. And it was, I'll never forget, it was Darrell Waltrip was telling me somewhere it was his idea and how much fun it was. I'm like, no, that was horrible. That was the worst idea ever. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's the West Coast swing, baby. I'm like, no, it was 3 weeks of hell is what it was, because you're already prepared, you know, for all three of those races month ahead of time. You know, by the time we went to Daytona, we already had to have everything ready for that West Coast swing. You get out there and you find yourself behind. How do you get caught up? You know, the guys, the crews, everybody's out there. You got what you got, and that's a month. Then you get back. It takes a month to, you know, get sorted out what direction, because obviously you've been down a path. You know, you're headed down that direction 100% with full speed ahead, and then all of a sudden you got to pull the reins back, you got to change direction, figure out what direction to go to, then head down that direction. That's another month, you know. So now we're 2 months into this thing, and just now starting to see this next path, and you know, that West Coast swing, 3 races right there right off the bat was a big part of that. So, you know, you can't blame anything. I mean, we should have been ready, and we thought we were ready, but, you know, unfortunately we weren't. And there's been a lot of crazy things happen too. You know, Brian, the unfortunate, you know, thing that he had, it's how do you forecast that? You know, and then that put us behind and forced, you know, Brett Moffitt to step in and really do something that he's never been involved with too, and then also get in a car that really, you know, wasn't running as well as it should have too. So that was a huge undertaking for him, and he did a hell of a job. That kid's a good race car driver, a great kid, and I think he's going to have some more opportunities at a couple of us, so I'm glad to see that. One more thing before I go. 5-hour energy, like we always do, cherry flavor 5-hour energy that's come out. It's the Special Ops Warrior Foundation that it's going to, 5 cents of every bottle. You hear 5 cents, you're like, that's not much, and I'm telling you, millions of bottles later, that's a lot of money. So looking forward to having a good run, and it's all because of cherry flavored 5-hour energy. I'm going to get the hell out of here. You ready, Dale? Do you have any questions?
We got one more question.
I got one more. It's a good way to end it. So Nick Bromberg, Yahoo Sports, going back to the party if you win, are you going to break out the flamethrower?
Flamethrower's not here, but Johnny Dare informed me he has
Does he have a backup?
some napalm coming for me, and his is close by. So yes, if we win, there could be a flamethrower in Victory Lane. That would be awesome. Is that acceptable, Pat? Yes.